Hello everyone. Voice is clear for everyone.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, let's start our session today. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rami Khudair. I am a PhD student at College of Food Science and Technology, and I am a volunteer at Department of Scientific Research and Development. It is my great honor to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Ibrahim Khalifa, an associate professor at Banha University, Egypt. Dr. Khalifa is highly respected academic and research in field of food science and technology. Today, he will share his acknowledgement on academic presentation skills, a topic that is very important for everyone who wants to improve their ability to present their work effectively. Dr. Khalifa earned his PhD from Huazhong Agricultural University in China. During his time there, he was recognized as a distinguished foreigner student by the CSC in 2019 and named an outstanding alumni by HZEU in 2020. He also received the National Encouragement Award from the Ministry of Higher Education in Egypt. Dr. Khalifa also won many awards, including Best Master Thesis in Food Science from Alexandria University, Best Paper in Food Science in Egypt, First Prize at Huazhong Simulation Conference, Best Oral Presentation Award at HZEU. He has published 130 scientific papers, and he also writing 10 book chapters and 3 ebooks. Dr. Khalifa has been involved in many international research projects. He has led projects funded by organizations in China, Italy, and Egypt, and has collaboration with researchers in Turkey, Thailand, and UAE. In addition to his research, Dr. Khalifa has reviewed over 1,000 articles for 30 respected journals. Dr. Khalifa today will talk about academic presentation skills. This session will help you learn how to present your research clearly, engage your audience, and make a strong impact in your field. Whether you are a student, researcher, or professional, this talk will give you useful tips to improve your skills and become a better me. Please join me to welcoming Dr. Ibrahim Khalifa to share his knowledge and experience with us today. Let's welcome Dr. Ibrahim Khalifa.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Dr. Rami and Dr. Ahmed, for such kind invitation. I hope my voice is clear. Just please confirm my voice is okay or not okay.
Yes, it's clear.
And I have also shared the screenshot, so everyone, I think now can view my presentation, right?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so let's continue. So today we will talk about the presentation skills, and let's go directly because we are a little late from the time. So today, as I said, we will talk about the presentation skills. I will skip those two slides which introduce myself, as Dr. Rami already introduced mine and my career since I started this career from 2012. It's about 13 years ago. And I will move toward directly to our tasks or our topics today, which about the presentations skills. So simply try to engage your audience to avoid such picture, because some of us already have staff members in their country, like in home university. So some of us also do like teaching for under or even postgraduate students. And some of us also maybe can see their students like sleeping or pouring or something like that during the lecture or even during the presentation. So try to avoid such picture or such behaviors and try to make them engage. Try to make them engage during the presentation. So simply make the presentations like a story, and then move toward from slides to next. So today What topics we shall cover? So we will talk about why give talks, why I need to talks with other people as a researcher or even as academic staffs. What is the necessary or circumstances needed to talk with other stakeholders, and then the structure of such talking, like background research, the audience who will listen to me is those undergraduate students or those like a scientist community or something like that. So know your topics, know your audience, and also the attitude during the presentation, like using body language and so on. And finally, the questions and inquiries by the stakeholders. So as I said, simply nail your presentations, make it simple and make it clear. And let's first, why I have to talk or why I should give a presentation or talks with others. Actually, there are several purposes to do presentation or to talks. For example, as I said, like teaching, if you are teacher, assistant, lecturer, even professor, associate professor, something like that, you have to teach and share your knowledge with under and postgraduate students through the courses available in the university. So the first purpose is to talk with the student, is to share the knowledge and to give the knowledge and share the science. This is the usually I say it's like 45% from your job tasks, like to do teaching with students, and the other is about 45%. The other is the research, or is to do scientific research. But while also when you do such scientific research, you also need to talk. So you also need to talk in the meeting, like in the weekly meeting or monthly meeting. You have to talk with your teacher, supervisors, something like lab mates, and so on. So you need also to talk. When you go for a conference or something like that, you also need to do presentations and talk with the community. Also, when you make like presentations or when you join like symposium or something like that, you need to talk with the scientific community. So usually I gave it like 45% from teaching and 45% from scientific, and also another 10% like administrative work. Sometimes you need to talk with the employee to do some administrative tasks related to quality, related to process of projects, grant, scholarship, and so on. Even after you graduate or after that, when you go to apply for a job, you need also to talk in the interview. So sometimes they ask you to prepare a presentation, like short talk, 3-5 minutes, and also need some skills. So before you prepare your presentations, you have to ask yourself some important questions about who I am talking with and why I give such presentations. So for example, ask yourself who invited me to do this presentation, what is the contact details, where is that event, how many people will listen to me, what is the like qualification of the stockholders, of those undergraduate students, postgraduate, of those professors, of those a kind of a commit, like scientific commit, when you are going to do, or when you are going to promote, to get the promotion from assistant to associate, or even from associate to full professor, you also need to talk with the scientific community. So ask yourself some important questions before preparing. And then, of course, use the presentation facilitators. Like you can use PowerPoints to prepare your presentation. Like you can use like some icons or some logos or some even animations to enhance and to deliver your information to the stockholders. You can even use Prezi, like free account or even pay account. And right now, recently, we are in the AI age or AI era. So you can use some AI facilitators to manage your presentation or to handle your presentation in the best way. Then about the structures tips. like usually, if I as stockholders, what is written like this, and what is seen and not or do not. So sometimes try to make like footnote and write some tips for yourself when you are talking, and then do not delay or do not make any problems or something like that. Then, as I said, I'm trying to move or skip from slide to slide, so I have a little of time. As I said, know your audience very clearly. If we want to classify or categorize the audience, we have some audience like students, maybe undergraduates, maybe senior or junior students. There are different levels of knowledge among them, and even postgraduates like master or PhD students, postdoc fellowships, or even scientific community like researchers, and maybe ordinary people that are not working in the scientific or the teaching career. So know your audience, because everyone has own knowledge about the topics you are talking about, and there are different levels between them. So try to know them. And why I have to know them? So I can manage my information, I can manage my talks for them. And then the audience expectation. There are different times for the audience. For example, if you are talking about short informal presentations like 5 minutes, if you are talking about some talks about 50 minutes, scientific meetings like half-hour workshop, it's maybe 1 hour, or like seminar, or even you do like celebration talks, so it takes maybe little or more time. So adjust your time. What kind of presentation you are talking about, and what is the limited time they give you to do it. As I said, there are many of the audience types, and based on those audience time, you can create your hypothesis or your knowledge who you are talking about. Because some of them maybe do not know about the topics you are talking, so try to make simple questions between each slide, then to get them engaged. And of course, remain attractive. After like we take like 10 minutes, some audience starting to be exhausted, some audience started to be bored or tired or something like that. So give them some solution like, I'm going to finish in 5 minutes. I'm going to give you some bonus if you listen to the next 5 minutes. I'm going to give questions in the last slide, so you can answer and get marks if they're like students. If they're like researcher, try to talk to them about. I will give the details, methods, or mechanisms at the end of the slide, so make them attractive. And remember, the teaching or the presentation is like a game, like a ping pong game. So like what you give, you have to hold, or you have to receive from the audience. Otherwise, the game will be over. So try to make it between us, and also use your audience and loud your audience as you can. It also gives some attraction. We have a common singer in Egypt. It's called Kulthum, and this is famous with her song. He has a like loud song, so try to use your song, and then it's also maybe attract the stockholders. And then talk about the problems we are talking about, the numbers of the audience, the number of the audience, and the technology you will use it, or something like that. If you are talking about presentation in job or something like that, tell the audience members why they should care and what is in front of, like opening words or something like highlight. We say it's like highlight, or something like some key lights they can interact with. Also, how to master the introduction, because it's very important to make the introduction, like who's your target audience, like make some questions, make some reference to refer to such questions, use like story or drama, and also use a quotation marks to make it. And also try to make your presentation from different visions. It's like a task and it's like a mission. So is it right to go immediately and directly to the PowerPoint icon, or what I have to do? So also make like that. Now know your topics very well first. If we are talking about certain topics, so try to know it very well. For example, if I'm talking about a scientific topic related to my research, I have to read and I have to focus very well with my topic before going to present it. If you are going to a conference or workshop, or even in like lab meeting, or even let's say you are going to defense your thesis, so you have to know your topic very well. It's very well to know that. And then if they raise some questions, if they raise some inquiries, you have to be ready to answer to them. It's very important to do this. Even from my opinion, this is the most important things, even than the PPT itself, is to be well educated and know well about your topic and about what you are talking about it. And also be in deep, because maybe some of the audience needs to ask questions or need to inquire about some deep or beyond points you didn't present it. So maybe you have to do it. And also, as I said, try to make it like story. Presentation is just a story. Of course, today my presentation may be a little boring because it's talking about the guidelines, or it's talking about the requirement or something like that to do a presentation. But if we are talking about specific presentation, like if I present some of my research scientific work, I will do it like from the introduction, from the questions to the details mechanism, and also like a movie or like story. So try to do it, highlight the gap between the past and the present, and also guide the early young career for the futures. So again, use some titles and also subtitles during the presentation. Make it like pyramids or something like mountain. Start from the background, raise the problem and the hypothesis, and ask the questions, and then find the solutions, and then go down to the conclusion and something like that. Try to make it from this styles, from go or let's say from up to down, or from down to up, and then back to down again. And of course, it's one of the most important is to keep it simple. But also this point, it depends on what you are talking about. Because if we talking about the presentation for thesis defense or presentation for promotion, it's not to keep it simple, because the audience is professor and even researchers from the field. But if we are talking about general tips or general presentation, for example, my major is food science. So if I'm going to present about food measures for the students, like secondary school students, I will of course make it simple, and the knowledge will not be the same if I compared it with a conference or workshop or something like that. But at least try to keep it simple. Try to keep it. Try to not go out from the message. Focus and make it a little narrow as you can, and avoid. This is also, it's very important. Try to avoid overloaded informations. It's also very hard. I saw some presentation or even posters, which is very important by the way. They use a lot of paragraphs and lines and words and try to mix together. Sometimes less is more. Remember this word. Sometimes less is more. For example, if you give me like this slice, audience will throw it out and will not listen from the second or from the third slice. Then back to the basic of PowerPoint. The basic of PowerPoint is talking about the font, it's talking about the color, it's talking about the slide background, it's talking about the titles and subtitles. Just even if you make all of this, just try to not read the slides, try to explain as possible as we can or as you can. And also reference is very important to support your talks, to support your results, to support your observations and so on. Again, use title like the main title or the key title, use title like subtitles, like introduction, like methods, organizations, like highlights, like reference, like acknowledgement, like ongoing works, futures, direction, something like that. Try to use title as possible as you can, because title usually it's eye contact between the slides and the stockholders or the audience. And then it's very important things about you, because you will the person or you will the, let's say, the item who will talks and who will send and who will deliver. You are the messenger and the sender who will deliver the talks from the slides to the audience. So remember, take it very simple. Sit at the stage, try to make some rehearsal and train yourself. Even if you make some like trying in room, talk to yourself. It's very important. Make some, like we say, it's prova, to make sure it's not very difficult. And this will encourage and promote you to talk with the peoples. And by the way, during I teach some courses for the undergraduate students in Egypt, usually I ask students to prepare a report, not documented report, like to make one slide PPT, just one slide, like 3 minutes of talks. And then I have asked some students to go to the stage and talk with the other student. This is very important practice for them to learn how to talk with the others, because once they graduated, they will search for a job, and the first two talks will about the interview with the HR or something like that. So try to teach also your students, and try to teach your if you are professor or lab manager, your lab mates to talk. So this is one of the importance of the lab meeting. Lab meeting is not only to deliver the results or the knowledge or something like that. Lab meeting is also to adapt or to train yourself how to talk with such level, with the level of professor or scientific community. So as I said, sit as a stage, get ready. It's not so hard. Try to make it more times to just be fluent or something like that. And then every presentation, every presentation is like a performance, and every presentation needs special or specific treatments. As I said, it's not easy to talk with or to deliver information to students in the primary schools. Sometimes we need to make a presentation when we go for business trip or a scientific trip to the primary and secondary school. We need also to deliver some information for them, and it's not easy to perform such presentations. Instead of to do against or versus scientific community, they will understand, they will listen, they are professional in their career. So take each presentation like an individual performance. And as I said, just stand tall, just use I will back. Just stand tall. Keep your chest like lifted. Smile. It's no need for any offness. And use your like smile, like face. Just like I usually like to use the baby face because it's attractive. It's more natural, even like compared to either any other simulation reaction or something like that. And remember, I will say this word in Arabic. Remember, تبسمك في وجه أخيك صدقة. So you can also gain some حسنات during the presentation. So it's very important also. Speak up, as I said. Try to speak up, increase your voice as possible as you can. And by using this, also you can control the noisy if there any other noisy around you. And then if the audience are the source of the noises, so make like eye contact, but not in this way. This is not eye contact. This is to make them afraid, and it's not good to do so. Just eye contact, like natural eye contact between one or two of the audience. It's also important. Again, use body language. It's very important to use body language, but it's in the normal way, not like to make it afraid or to make it like that. And smile, eye contact, different eye contact position I have shared, like down, yes, wow, something like that, hello, or something like that. Even the politicals, they also use like body language or even eye contact. So try to also simulate it. And then take your time. Of course, today I'm not taking my time because we have only 1 hour, but it's also important to like leave a few seconds between slides and the other slides, then try to take your time. But today I didn't do it, but actually because the time is limited. And also do not use like one word we called something like that in lesson. It's also not good. Like I remember a teacher who taught me a course. Usually he said in this case. So try in this case. Try to avoid such. And time is very important, of course. Time is money for all of us, for the audience or for the presenters. So try to make your frame time. You have 1 hour, so try to finish before 1 hour. You have 45 minutes, something like that. So it's very important for time, and also to make like against pouring from the audience. It's also a good. This actually, I want to stop here a few seconds because I think this is also need another presentation or another talks about the poster, because poster is a kind of presentation, but poster it's like documented presentation. You present your work without aiding of any other technology like PPT or like Preview or something like that. You make your frame, or you make your presentation through the design of the poster shared by the scientific community, and then you stand besides your poster, and then you present your poster without any aiding of other technology. It's very important also if also thinking about poster preparing and presentation. It's very important to set up the poster, to choose the frame, to transfer all knowledge, something like that. Maybe later we can talk about it. And then, as I said, talk to the audience, not the screen, using eye and using body language contact. Leave some time for questions. Leave some time for questions and response to all the questions. Reply to the questions as you know. Do not simulate. Do not fabricate some answers. Just answer as you know. But you have to answer to all. That's meaning no need to answer the right answer. Just if I said I don't know, it's also answer. So you can simply say I don't know about this, and we can search together to get the best answer from such a question. This is and keep answer brief, because like usually the session QA session is usually like 10 or 5 minutes or let's say it's 10% from the time of the total presentation. So to answer, you have to get prepared from the first. So it's also very important again to get prepared about the point you are talking about, and this is also very important. Then again, I will talk about less is more. Remember this information, less is usually more. For example, if you are talking about the composition, or if you are present the structure of something, maybe you can just search in Google or just search in any AI assistant website. Maybe you can get like 1,000 words of information, and then copy such information, put it in one slide, and you told yourself, I have finished my slide. For example, this slide is talking about the carbohydrate chemistry. Look how many words in this slides, how many lines in this slides, the font. If I even expert in the measure or in the field of carbohydrates or in the chemistry, I will feel it's very boring to read all of this. So ask yourself, how about the ordinary people? How about the ordinary stockholders? And let's say this is like a bad slide. Instead, you can make like this, like the same title, carbohydrate chemistry, and then you can search for some structures, for some logo, for some pictures or icons, and then you can make like classification. It's very simple to even the ordinary people understand the difference between each structure, the sources of the carbohydrates, the key structure of the carbohydrates, something like that. So this one example comparing the bad and the good slide. And then again, try to create sections. Sections, that meaning it's try to make like subtitles. These subtitles will help you to organize your presentation. Like if I said intro methodology, like no acknowledgement, like highlights, like further trend, something like that. Try to make subsections and subtitles. Even inside the subtitles or subsections, try to also make some separate. Try to also make some separate. It's very important. Also, avoid something like that, and avoid doing slides like cosmetics, like make unclear. If you focus with this picture, this is the meaning of try to avoiding slides like cosmetics. Usually when we read the data sheet of the cosmetics, we can find some background like this one. So if you copy this from the internet or any sources, maybe they have like a watermark or something like that. Instead, make your graph by yourself, or remove such background, or use like plain background. You use of course some animation, and if possible, try to show a short movie in between. Actually, we didn't use it also, but instead try to make a short movie. For example, if you are talking about mechanism or mode of action of something, if you are studying like the natural component against bacteria or against microorganism, and if you have the mode of action or mechanism, how they can inhibit such, so it's also okay. If you have some movies about the interactions between some molecules or something like that, it's also very important to show such. And also make your text very clear without any complications that the stockholders cannot understand it or cannot get it. Again, the font. Back to the basics of the PPT. It's about the font of the size you will use. Like when you compare between this and that, it's also very close, and you cannot even read and you cannot get the meaning of the font. and make it readable. As I said, the font is like 25, between 28, it's 14, it's like headline. The main text is like 18 to 28, like reference 12 to 14, something like that. There are many basics about the using of PPT. It's also important. Again, use visuals because according to a recent study, 90% of the information can be transmitted from the brain. It's like a visual-based information. If you remember, when we compared the two slides of carbohydrate chemistry between the texted or the pictured one, of course, most of the information could be gained or could be received through the visual-based on formation. And it's also very important to check the spelling, because if you are professional and if you are talking about, of course, most of us working in the scientific career, so it's not possible or even not acceptable to text with spelling mistakes or even with grammar mistakes. And remember, it's very important to remember this is just like a life. So try to make the networking during this life. And it's very important in our career to do like networking. Try to network from everywhere in the world. And now, as I said, we are in the AI era, so world is very close and it's like very small village. So try to contact and connect with every scientist from every country. Such networking will help you to apply to get a fund to do even like survey-based research or review-based research and so on. And remember, try to also enjoy. It's just one life. So not only do like something like that, also try to enjoy your life, whatever you can. The most important is also to make team, because it's very important to do to work inside the team. And this picture actually is one of my team in 2020 in Hwa-Chong Agriculture University, and I still do love such background actually. And inside the presentation skills, also team is very important, because some of them can even revise, some of them can add, some of them can check your presentation or even nominate you to do such a presentation as today happened. I have finished today, and I would love to listen to any questions or inquiries about the talks I delivered, and I will be happy to listen. Thank you so much. Dr. Rami and Dr. Ahmed can talk now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ibrahim Khalifa, for this nice presentation. We will open now the participants to unmute themselves. So if anyone has any question, please ask directly by unmute yourself and then ask directly to the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalifa, for your good presentation. And let's start our questions from the participant.
Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ibrahim, for this wonderful presentation. We have a lot of information. So I want to ask you a good question about what the presenter shall do if he face a difficult situation during the presentation, forget some knowledge or someone do some bad behavior. What shall he do in this situation? Thank you so much.
جزاك الله دكتور. Thank you so much. I just will repeat your question for the other audience. We are talking about if I face any difficult situations during the presentation, right? What I should to do. Exactly?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we are talking about the different situations. If I totally understood that the situation is different. For example, I will give you some example. For example, if someone asks me, this is also a situation. If someone asks me a question and I do not know the answer, so simply it's also a one situation. So simply I can say I do not know. And for me personally, it happened many times. Even during teaching the undergraduate students, they ask a deep question. They ask maybe a questions for investigation later. So simply I can say I do not know the answer, and let's search together about it. This is simple. The second situation maybe I face, if someone use like if we are talking about someone use be against me, or some like unacceptable behavior or something like that. So in this case, I'm also talking personally. In this case, if we are say I'm present for 100 audience or 100 students, and this behavior, non-acceptable behavior, came from one, so I'm talking about 1%, right? So it's also simple that the other 99% can make a decision. For example, students or guys, I will stop here right now until such unacceptable behavior be solved by you. And if you, I'm talking with the 99%, if you, the 99% accepted this behavior, of course, they will not accept and they will deal with it. So I give the solution from the audience to the audience. It's also very, very simple. And again, just be nature. Just be yourself. Do not adapt, do not fabricate, do not simulate, do not something like, no, it's not good. Just be yourself. So I hope I got my answer is clear, doctor.
It is very clear. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Khalifa. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Alaikum salam.
Brother, thank you so much for the nice presentation. Although my question is not related to presentation skills, but I want to know about something that you mentioned at the last of the presentation, that we should have a collaborations with the other universities or other countries, in other teachers, in the other labs. So currently, like I am a PhD student, and how can I find the collaborations at this level?
Yes, thank you so much, brother, for your questions. And again, I will also repeat your questions to the other audience. You are talking about the networking, how to do it and how to reach it at the level of PhD students. To be honest, actually, the PhD students and master's student is mainly governed and directed by their professors and by their teachers. So such collaborations, if it based on agreement with your teacher or professor, in this case, it's acceptable. Otherwise, actually, the professor or the teacher and even the ethics, it's not good, because you are mainly focused on one task, is to do your master or to do your PhD under the supervision of this professor. So every mobility or something like that or networking should be with the agreement of this. So in case if we said he or she agreed to do such collaboration, so there are different channels to do the collaboration. Many channels actually, starting from, let's say, if we are talking about some publishing, international publishing, so we can start with the review and short communications paper. It's very good to start the collaboration. And it's simply, if you are working, for example, I'm working about the polyphenols. So if I'm working about the polyphenols, I will start from the email levels and reach to visiting and something like that levels. So it's just based on the time. Just take time, but try to make it like step by step. Again, start
Okay,
from
brother.
sharing information, sharing knowledge, writing review paper, short communications, letters, something like that, and then go to the level of applying together for projects and then sharing the visiting between us.
Okay,
That's
brother.
all.
Thank you so much for your detailed answer. I got it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalifa, for your presentation. And let me, according to your experience, what is the most common mistakes a student make it in academic presentation, and how we can they be avoided these mistakes according to your experience?
Thank you so much, Dr. Rami, for such inquire. And again, I will repeat the questions to the other audience. He's talking about the mistakes usually done by students and how to avoid it. Of course, if we know, my answer is, if we know the mistakes, then we will find the best way to fix or to solute it. For example, in my opinion, and if we are talking about specifically PhD and master students, let's say about those peoples. If we are talking about those peoples and their mistakes during the presentation, the first one, in my opinion, is not to be ready or not too well educated about the topics they are talking about. For example, I will present about some titles and I just know the surface from the surface information about these titles. So if they faced in-deep questions, and here you have to answer, to be honest, not like just search or just I don't know the answer and just search for the answer together. This solution could be if you are talking about the undergraduate students in a lecture or something like that. But when we talk about PhD and master students and academic presentation, exactly, you have to know all points related to your topic. This is the first important things. The second point is the overloading during the presentation. From my opinion, I saw many presentations from masters and PhD students, even during the defense, they make a lot of knowledge and a lot of informations, like texted information. And the solution, instead of they can use animations, you can use logos, you can use pictures, you can use visual information, which is fast to deliverable to the stockholders. And one of the most important also is the time, because if I like a scientific in a scientific commit, I also evaluate you regarding your time. I gave you 10 minutes or 5 minutes. You have to finish during those 10 minutes or during 5 minutes. You can take more time, but it will decline your final scores. So it's also about your time. And last one is most of them, based on their knowledge also, they just try to read the slides, which is not very good. Instead of, the solution is try to make your eye contact, body language, explain simply. So that's all, Dr. Rami, from my knowledge.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khalifa, for your reply.
You are welcome. So any other questions, or we shall to finish it now?
If no more questions, so we can end the session so far. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for such kind invitations.